is a tool called the U.S. Drought Monitor. It's been in place for since about the year 2000. And most of eastern Washington at this time is falling under that level of exceptional drought. In the Northwest, that level of drought indication has been very rarely used. I'm from Oregon, and I can only think of one time that it's been used in Oregon shortly after 2003, that area. And I don't know if it's ever been used in Washington before.
Long-term drought in the area. Spring rains didn't occur. It's been hot and dry. We've had some heat waves that have dried fuels to an unprecedented point. All fuels, the large logs, stumps, the live vegetation, the brush, and brush is drought stressed. It's already showing some discoloration, some fall colors.
We were able to catch the fire's edge in Beaver Dam Creek, so we went direct down the creek, and then we went direct on the hand line coming out of Beaver Dam Creek heading up to drop point 180, and from there we're still going direct heading out to the east to the division uniform Victor X-ray division break. The last little bit of line that we need to scout is right at the division break. We've tied into the Boss Creek Road, and we're bringing it around the break, and we're going to scout to see if we can go direct on the fire's edge. A lot of my safety concerns for my firefighters, especially down in this Beaver Dam Creek, has been overhead hazards, snags coming down, fire-weakened trees. So I've been dealing with a lot of those issues and trying to get in some professional fallers to mitigate those issues. PACE is a model that the team uses to kind of have that backup plan. So P is primary, and I'm working on primary lines going as direct as possible. A is alternate. I do feel like in areas that I have to go indirect, those are alternates, and the only reason I'm doing that is for safety concerns and highest success rate. It is very steep in there. I do understand that it's underslung line, and so it could give us some holding concerns. So if it does not have high success, we have identified an alternate route, smallest footprint, going off some old logging roads and tying back into that Boss Creek Road.
We get into a cycle, rapid fire spread, high intensity fire behavior, a fair amount of tree torching, spotting. We're lofting embers up to a quarter to a half mile. Those embers are landing on dry and receptive fuels. So much of the local area, it can be described as a fire-adapted ecosystem. Awareness and acceptance of fire as part of the system is allowing us to use fire, to understand fire in selecting our suppression opportunities, location of fire lines, where identifying where you can have a lower intent or expect a lower intensity fire allows fire managers to put the right tools in the right place and that provide less disturbance. A lot of times utilizing a road or a natural feature provides less disturbance than a bulldozer line paralleling a road. So understanding the fire's role in the ecosystem and taking advantage of the conditions at hand provides lower intensity, higher margin of safety, and less direct fire effects. Build contingency lines, or just in case the fire threatens a line, we have a fallback. Within that fallback, we have the opportunity to, as the situation develops, move closer into the fire edge. When the fire dies down enough, when we have weather that's conducive to getting closer, we'll get directly on the fire edge. But as the conditions change, we need to have a fallback line, and that's where we have the contingency lines.
So the E stands for emergency, and we would be pulling back to our contingency lines, and if the fire was pushing our hand and we had to fire off the contingency lines, that would be our emergency.
So much of the local area, it can be described as a fire-adapted ecosystem. Frequent fires provide mosaic effect where you have generations of trees separated by fire visitation. Older fires are hard to discriminate on the landscape. You may see an occasional snag or homogeneous even age stand or patch. Interruption of the natural fire cycle has produced in many areas an unnatural accumulation of forest debris. Many trees survive after a fire, except when you have extraordinary conditions like a drought. Drought times generate high severity fires, and when you have an accumulation of forest fuels along with the drought, you could expect a higher fire intensity, higher fire severity over what we would expect in a natural fire cycle. The mosaic of the fire pattern across the landscape may be determined by the aspect, by the species of trees on site, but having a patchwork provides resilience for survival into the future. The older trees, many of them survive multiple fires. Most of the larger ponderosa pine trees show fire scars. Maybe every 8 to 12 years you could expect a light underburn, low severity, low fire intensity, kind of a cleanup burn. That allowed for the dominant trees, the fire-adapted trees like the ponderosa, to sustain on site and produce more ponderosa pines.